Okay, I don't see anything, so hopefully they're all able to get in. So Seesaw is a remote learning tool that allows students to build a digital portfolio. I feel pretty strongly about Seesaw and its successes in the K-2 space, and I've also seen really wonderful things happen with Seesaw in the intermediate space as well. So I'm a pretty big fan of Seesaw. I will just start it off with the caveat. I'm not sure if it's going to continue as a free platform heading into the fall. Previously, they had the free version, which is for educators, and then you would pay for the upgrade. And obviously right now, because of distance learning, everyone gets that free upgrade. So I'm not sure what's going to be happening with the paid version moving into fall. Personally, I would really love it if the district would pay for us to have access in the K-2 space especially. Maybe not so important in the intermediate space, but definitely for the younger grades. So that's just kind of where I'm at with Seesaw. So let's just jump right in to Seesaw. I'm going to share my screen here. So hopefully you can see my screen where it says Seesaw. And let's just start by watching the little intro video. Obviously you could do this on your own, but.
Be a good day? Say, I am strong.
I am
Just a quick little promo for Seesaw. I'm going to go ahead and take you into my Seesaw, and I am logged in, as you can see, to my district credentials in the top corner here in Chrome. So you can see here that I'm logged in as my Sac City email address, and that way I can make sure that I get any educator perks. And just to say that there are some programs where you do get a perk for being a teacher, and there's some programs where you don't, and it doesn't matter. So it's just always nice to do a quick like Seesaw educator account or Seesaw teacher discount or something like that, and just double check and see if you do get something special. I have definitely been in programs before where it doesn't seem like there's anything for teachers, and then you do a little bit of digging, and sure enough, you have to kind of go through a back alley channel to find that educator discount. So always do some digging, always look, or anytime just reach out to me. I'd be happy to let you know. So once you sign in, you would obviously just click log in, and you would go in with your district credentials. I've already pulled mine up just to make it faster. So this is what it looks like as a teacher when I log into my test class. So you access this kind of, it almost looks like Facebook, like it's a thread. So as you can see here, I've got one other person asking for the password, guys. I'm disappointed that that didn't work. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that because I edited the emails yesterday so that they would include the password, and that didn't happen, so that's frustrating. So you can see here that there's kind of this feed, this news feed, and I can designate if I wanted to show up as a news feed or if I wanted to show up by calendar. So I can look here and browse by date and see what assignments I have on which dates. I don't have anything assigned for this month, so it's not showing anything, but I want you to know that that is a new feature that they're offering. So I'm going to show you what it looks like to join in, to create a new, excuse me, lost my train of thought, to create a new activity in Seesaw so you can just see what it is. So I would just click the big green button up here. I would just click add, and I've got some choices here. I'm going to assign an activity. And oh my goodness, look at this. I've got so many choices of activities in my library. In this case, I'm going to create a new activity. And I'm going to call this second grade addition. Or actually, I'm going to call it the second grade story problems. And I'm going to tell the children, show your work. And I'm going to add some voice instructions right here. Make sure you show your work, students. So if I have students that get bogged down by the reading, you have a lot of instructions, maybe you have families where English is not their first language, you can have those instructions orally in addition to written. I'm going to leave the rest for now and just click save. And I'm going to assign it. So this is now active in my class, and I just wanted to show how easy it is to just create something really quick in Seesaw. And in a moment, I'm going to show you what it looks like from the student view as well, so that you can see how the students engage with Seesaw also. For now, I'm going to continue my tour so that you can see what else we have here in Seesaw. So there's a journal of activities where I can see all of the students in my class. Here I only have my son and my daughter and then my sample student. I could add students right down here or families as well. We were in activities previously. I do also have an inbox where I can communicate with students and families. And then there's also this skill builder area, which probably, Mrs. Reed, you could tell more about the skills area than I could because I haven't actually used this yet. So. I do also want to share really quickly that when you go into assigning an activity, I was previously right here in my library, but I want to click over into community really quickly and just show you the incredible power of this wonderful community that is Seesaw. So I titled my activity second grade subtraction, and I don't know if I've already designated this as second grade or searched for second grade, but look at all these wonderful second grade activities right here. There's so many to choose from. So just really quick, if you'll unmute yourself and shout out, what's a really cool lesson that you see here on the screen that you think would be neat for your students to engage with?
The rainbow fish role play.
Rainbow fish role play. All right. Let's see.
That's a famous actor, but I don't remember his name.
Made a to-do list for a supervillain.
Why don't I see the rainbow fish role play?
The man with the red sweater on.
There he is. Sorry.
She was looking for a rainbow fish.
I was looking for the rainbow fish. I mean, there he is, the little rainbow fish. Now check this out. The student instructions are all already here. There's already verbal instructions embedded. It shows me what template the students will edit. It shows me this sweet little guy right here. I'm going to go ahead and just click assign it to my test class, and done. Look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. So easy. But I want to also show you how I would create an assignment that has a little bit more depth than just show your work with no work actually attached. And how I would create something more complex than just finding something that someone has already created. So if you'll bear with me, and please, if you have any questions, I forgot to say this at the outset, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to just throw me your questions out there, interrupt me at any time. This is a tech-versation. This is not a presentation by any means. So I just want to make sure, just give me one moment. I want to make sure that I've got, somebody still asking me for the link. So I'm just going to send that over to them really quickly, make sure that they can get in. Okay, so if I click add and I go ahead and assign an activity, going to create a new activity. And I want to add some media, and I want to add a template for the students to respond. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how I could use an Envision, what are these called? Center activity. So I'm just going to go ahead and screen clip, if it'll let me, screen clip this activity here. And it's going to save that to my computer for me. And I'm going to add it in here. And notice that I can also select directly from my Google Drive. So I could pull something directly from my Google Drive if I already had it. In this case, I'm going to select from my computer. And look at that, I can drop 9 more photos. I can do so much here, but I'm going to leave it with just this for now. And look at this. So this, I can now edit this screen that the students would see. I can create a background. There's also grid paper in case they want grid paper or dot paper. If you're having students do some writing, if they have a touch screen, you could have them do some writing in here with the writing paper. But I'm just going to go with a solid color background for now. And I'm also going to include my instructions here. Play this game with your family. And let's go ahead and move this over there. Now, take a moment to read the instructions for this activity here. So maybe I want students to actually use base 10 blocks to do this activity. I have a couple choices. I could send them to a link, or I could come over here to Envision, to the base 10 blocks, and I could snag these. So I'm going to save this one to my computer as well. We're going to call that the cube. And I'm actually not going to do the entire I'm not going to put a bunch of them there just because I don't want to take too much of your time, and we don't actually even need cubes for this activity, so that was silly. But no one called me out and said, we don't need cubes, Nova. And what I could do with these flats, just for those of you who haven't heard recently, I've been calling these flats and not hundreds. Can somebody tell me why I call them flats and not hundreds?
Because it could represent anything. They could be a whole, they could be 10. Is that why?
They sure could. They are not always hundreds. That's absolutely right.
And you're just screenshotting them from, correct? You're just
Yep.
yeah.
I'm just stealing them from Envision.
Yeah.
And you can steal them from anywhere, right? You could steal them even from right here. You could use the exact same image right here, right? I could say, oh, yep, let's grab this little rod. There we go. There's your rod. Not the best screenshot, but you get the idea. And then I just paste a whole bunch of them. I just go paste, 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 paste. right? You get the idea. There's a hummingbird at my window. I don't know if you guys could see that. He was like staring at me. Really cute. All right. Amanda, do you want to share any tips or tricks at this point since you've used Seesaw a little bit?
I haven't actually used Seesaw.
Oh, I thought you have. Okay, awesome.
No, I was thinking about using it and then I didn't. So I'm learning now.
I don't know why I thought you had. I apologize.
I usually do all the things. It's usually what I do.
So I can also add a caption down here that says, I can say whatever I want. Move the blocks to show your work. And I can also, again, add a voice caption. This is a voice caption. I'm doing a voice caption. Done. And now the students can see that when they come into it. So it says caption added. There's so much more that I could do here. I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I do want to show you that I could add another page to this activity. Oh, but look at this. Adding a page is one of the premium features. So just want to point out, again, they keep changing what features you have access to. So I'll skip that for now, but you do have the opportunity to create essentially a series of learning down the right-hand side of the screen there. So within a single activity, you could essentially create like a little mini unit, essentially kind of like a slide deck, except they can add so much more than they could in just a Google slide. Any questions at this point before I move on?
I
Yeah.
have a question, Nova.
Yeah, I heard
So-
Leah, I heard Christina. Leah first.
Leah. Oh, okay. So for this activity, the students would move, whatever it's asking them to do, they would move the flats to like one side of the screen.
Sure. So, I mean, you could structure this kind of any old way. Kind of my point here is that if you just sent this home to students just as a piece of paper, right, in a packet, there wouldn't be much that you could do as the teacher to see what they've done, how they've done it. But here with Seesaw, I'm providing them at least some sort of manipulative for them to be able to show their representations, show their work somehow. Obviously, if I were actually going to be using this with students, I would put a little bit more time and thought into how I would structure this activity. I'm just using this for demo purposes for you all. So I apologize, the thoughtfulness isn't quite entirely there in how to create an amazing activity, but hopefully you're getting some sparks of ideas. Is that
So
fair?
when they leave the screen, like, is it automatically saved? However, when they exit the screen, is it saved and then we're able to view it?
Yeah, I'll show you that in just a minute. It's really cool. Yeah. And Christina, you had a question as well?
I don't quite understand how you grabbed those from Envision from this page.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. So I just went to the Envision's math tools, right? So they have this math tools page. Have you been there before? I'm actually going to put a link in the chat.
No, but when you were copying it, it didn't show. We couldn't see the the little tool when it highlights it and copies. We couldn't see. We just saw the arrow. So that's what made it difficult for us to see which part you had grabbed until you pasted it.
Thank you so much. You know, I have the setting turned on Zoom where it shows my Zoom window to my participants, but it still doesn't show everything, which is really interesting. So hopefully right now you can see the math tools screen. Is that correct? Yeah. So I just, thank you, Leah. That makes so much sense. So Christina, what I did is I used the screen grab tool, and I would be more than happy to follow up with you how to do that on your device. It is different if you're on a PC or a Mac or an iPad or a Chromebook. So it depends on what device you're on is how you would screen grab. So I just did a little screen snip. I just snipped around this piece and it automatically copies it to your clipboard. And when you come back to Seesaw, all I did is I hit Control V or Command V if you're on a Mac to paste it into onto the page. Okay.
Snipping tool, is it the snipping tool?
Yeah.
Okay, I got that.
Yeah. Again, it depends on what device you're on, what they call it. All right, well, I'm gonna move right along. I'm gonna make sure I don't have anybody in the waiting room. I knew there was one other person who was trying to get in who was struggling, so I'll have to send her the link.
Can I ask you a quick question, Nova?
Yes, please.
When you, hi everybody, I'm Jennifer. It took me a while to get in. When you click on let's say the tool, does it automatically copy or do you need to do Command C?
It automatically copies on my device. I am not going to guarantee that that is the case for
Okay.
all places.
Okay.
So one thing, one mistake that I just made that I realized as Jennifer was talking is I was, let me go back here for a second. So when I was creating the example, this is actually just the example for the instructions. And so you can actually create, like you could put a video there and it could just be a video of you talking, saying, hi students, thank you for coming to reading time. I'm going to read you a quick book. And then you read the book right here. You would upload a video. And then here would be the actual activity that the students complete. So I just demonstrated essentially the student template for you in the wrong space. My bad. And so I just wanted to point that out that I did put that in the wrong place. All right, so we're going to move right along. Actually, let me put a couple of the base 10 blocks in here so that you can see what happens.
Would you be able to drag that from that one box to the student template part?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's a really great question and we'll find out in just a minute. How about that?
Yep.
I'm just gonna put a couple of these down here. Okay, moving right along. So I've created this really quick, short activity. There are some more options down here. And again, I think that there are more options the more you pay for the product. So there's some teacher notes that are not visible. So maybe I want to say, double check Raul's work. He struggled with this activity last time, or whatever that may be. And then there is also the skills down here now. I believe that that's where that skills tracing comes along. So you could put in here, addition versus subtraction, and then that's a skill that you could track over time. And then I do want to just demonstrate, oh, and then assign to my test class, and then head back to my class. I want to show one other example really quickly. So if I assign an activity, I have illustrative mathematics up here, and here I have a task that says, this is for those second grade teachers in the room, this is Peyton and Presley discuss addition. So here I have some instructions. I'm just gonna select the text and copy. If you're not familiar with illustrative mathematics, their tasks are phenomenal. They're all in the curriculum guides. I highly recommend checking those out. I'm gonna create a new activity called Peyton and Presley. And I'm going to put in my instructions. My instructions here are going to be read the problem, show your work, respond to the 2 questions. Obviously, if I were really doing this for students, I would give a lot more thought to my instructions. And here I'm just going to go in and I'm going to do a drawing. I'm going to do a background, aligned background for the students here. I'm going to include some text. I'm going to paste my text in. Come on. I'm trying to resize my window. There it goes. Ah! There we go. Okay. And I could edit this. There we go. And again, I could drop in some, I'm trying to get it, see if I can get it smaller. Again, I could drop in some base 10 blocks if I wanted to. I could resize this to make it smaller. There's a lot that I could do here with it to, you know, format it exactly the way that I want to. But I just wanted to share that there are many different ways that you can structure these activities. Great. So at this point, I'm going to, oh, wait, I have to assign it to my class or else that's not going to work very well. Any questions at this point?
It is I am a resource and clever.
IM is an instructional materials resource that is open source.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Open source.
It means that it's free and public on the internet.
Huh?
Really quick. So since I'm teaching a split next year, would I create 2 different classes, one first, one second, or can I do the split together and then overlap some stuff, or
Yeah.
assign to certain students?
Such a great question. So if you'll notice in the top left-hand corner where it says that I have 100 notifications, I have 2 classes. So before we leave, I will just pop into Mrs. Jones' 5th and 6th grade class. So Mrs. Jones is phenomenal with her use of Seesaw. This is a 5-6 combo. You can see here in the, actually I'm gonna go to activities instead of journal, come on. So here I'm just gonna scroll through so you can look at some of the activities that she has here. And if you'd like me to stop and pop into one, please let me know. So we'll just take a moment to read through these. Bless you.
You wanna, can we open the Foursquare? Because that's something that I know we use, you know, K through 6.
So if I just click on it, it shows me right here that there are currently 0 responses, 3 students are waiting for approval, 0 drafts, and 3 students have not responded. So this shows that she's only assigned it to 7 students. Why would she only assign it to 7 students?
They were the ones that needed that information, that work, or they were the ones that were more advanced, and there's got to be a reason that she's targeting those 7 students.
Yep, so this is one of her groups. She's differentiating her instruction. And you notice that there was another Foursquare just below this one. And so she's within this one class, Amanda, she's deciding who she's assigning this to. So the 2 different ways that you can structure it are you can have one class where all the students are in there, or you can have 2 separate classes. You noticed that when I went to assign the activity, it asked which class I wanted to assign it to. So I could have just assigned it to 1st grade, or just assigned it to 2nd grade, or assign it to both. So 2 different ways that you can structure it, and I could see benefits with either one.
Or you could have done something like just assigned it to your RSP kids, so just assigned it to your English language learners, or
Yep, you can do it individually. And I do want to take a moment here to show as well that right here I can click on the student's work and I can look at the student's work right here and now. I can also view the original. It'll open a new tab and it'll take me to the original assignment. So that's what the student was originally given. That was the template that I used to create this assignment, except it wasn't me, it was her. And then I also want to show that here I can either approve it, I can send it back, and I can write a comment to tell them why I'm sending it back, or you could delete it. I mean, I guess that's the equivalent to just like taking their work and putting it in the recycle bin. I don't know. I also want to note that I can comment right here, and that's a really great feature, which we're going to talk about in just another moment. And then at the bottom right-hand corner, it says next post. So right here, I can just cycle through all my students' work. This student hasn't completed it yet. This student hasn't completed it yet. Here's the student's work. Makes it really easy to just fly through and look at all of my students' work, all the different ways that they're submitting their work. Now I'm going to pop out of this really quickly because I want to show also. So if we look at this mathematical reflection, let's see if I can find one. Let's look at Melvin's. Maybe this will have, no. All right, let's see if I can find one that has what I'm looking for. I can hear my children screaming upstairs. Anyone else have children at home with you right now?
Yes. I hear anime in the background at my house.
So this student did his work on a piece of paper and then he took a picture of it. Sorry, Unalise is a girl. Well, what I was trying to show is there's a way, and we're going to get into this in just a moment. There's a way for students to also record their video, or their audio rather, so that you can then hear their thinking. So let's just see if there's any here. So here's an example where the teacher put the problem in and then the student did the work on top of the problem. This is another example where the student did the work on top of the problem. So in this case, instead of copying and pasting the text of the problem, the teacher took a screenshot of the problem and just pasted it right in. Okay.
You mean she didn't pull it in as a PDF? How can you tell that it was a screenshot and not a PDF?
It could have been either. I'm making that assumption based on the size of the text,
Okay.
the size of the image. It doesn't look like it was a full page document.
Yeah.
It's a screenshot. So
And it automatically treats it as a background, so it's permanent, and then the students were able to add the text boxes on top of it.
Yeah, and there's some settings there as well that you'll get to play with once you're in. But yeah. Like you can set whether or not something is a background or not. Okay. And so just to show again, Amanda, I did that by clicking in the classes in the top corner here. I do also want to note that when I'm in here, I can click on the student and I can see specifically what the student has completed. Like in this case, Colton has completed 2 items. Chloe hasn't completed any. She's lazy. She's not really, you guys. She's just not actually in my classroom because this is my test. Okay. Any other questions before I move on to the student view?
So these are the 2 separate assignments there that Colton has, the top one that's not expanded, and then that one that you were just, one, yeah, so the top one is that one unexpanded assignment, and then this is the other assignment?
I don't know what this is.
But it'll just list all, so we can see that it's 2 items completed on the right, and then on the left side is links to all the different assignments.
That he's completed that are waiting for review.
Yeah, like the queue.
Yep, like a queue. Oh, look, this is a cute little PDF of all of his work. There's his portfolio. That's what that does. So at the end of the term, let's say if you wanted to, you could create the PDF and you could send this home with all of their work to send home to their family. You could even just email it if you're in email communication with your families. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment. And if you'll just drop in the chat one aha that you've had so far, something that you noticed that was cool or something that you're excited to play with a little bit more later, I'm going to get the student view up and running and we'll be off and running in just a moment. Yeah, digging into illustrative mathematics, it's their tasks are really wonderful, so it's really high quality. Audio instructions are key, and the use of audio in Seesaw, I think, makes it. I mean, there's other programs that also use audio, so I don't want to make it sound like Seesaw is the only way to do that, but it is a really great feature, especially for the younger students. But I think for the older students, it's so hard in virtual distance learning to get students talking to each other or explaining their thinking. And in math, we need to listen to our students, right? We need to like stop and just listen to them. And that ability for them to also audio back to you, you're going to see it's pretty clutch. Yep, great differentiation. Yep, portfolios, all of you guys. Yeah, I agree with all of these. Cool.
Does this link to Google Classroom or would it be its own thing?
So it doesn't link the way that Benchmark or Envision or Khan do. And again, I don't know if everyone saw, so Seesaw is not currently whitelisted through Sac City, although I'm fighting tooth and nail to get it whitelisted, but they're also not cracking down on it. And you do have the students log in with Google, so they log in with their Google accounts. But I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm very, very hopeful and optimistic that we get it whitelisted for the fall. I know that enough people have been asking that I would be very surprised if it's not, but I'm not in control of that, so.
If the students can log in with Google, I mean, that makes it easy for them to access,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Is that new? That our students can log in with Google, or was that always an option?
That was always an option.
Oh, I wish I had realized that. I would have probably pushed it a little bit more. So once we set it up, we create our classroom, then we just needed to give the students the link to Seesaw and they would just log in with Google.
Yeah, and just like with, remember with Khan Academy, there's a couple different ways to make that happen, a couple different ways to do that. And so as with Seesaw, there's a couple of different ways to do that. And if you're ready to start getting your students in, I would be more than happy to do another Zoom of just how to enroll your students, how to get your students up and running and all that. For today, I was just going to go over like the general features of the program. So I've logged in as my son. Here we are. We have now transformed. We are Colton. And it looks just the same, doesn't it? It's a different color. There's a little bit less stuff, but there's the same green button. I can still decide if I want it to be a stream or the calendar view. I can still see the other students in my class. So if I click on Chloe, oh, nothing's been added to her journal. So if there were something in there, then he would get to comment on her work. So if this were another student's work, he could just comment at the bottom and say, I really like how you used the blue dots. And so students can post on each other's work, and notice that it says pending approval. The teacher has to approve the comment, so there's no cyberbullying. Yeah. So if I go into my activity feed, look, there's my activities. Here's the work that I need to do. So let's start with this rainbow fish. So let's play the instructions.
Click on the picture to listen to the rainbow fish written by Marcus Feister. When finished, click Add Response. Use the pen, pencil, highlighter, or glow pen to circle the scene that you would like to act out. Think about that scene. What is Rainbow Fish thinking? How is Rainbow Fish feeling? What is Rainbow Fish doing? Tap the record button and act out or role play what Rainbow Fish would say in that scene. When finished, click the green check mark to add it to your journal.
Pretty cool. So at this point, you would click the little dude. It is opening YouTube, so if there are issues with...
Hello, and welcome.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it to pause. Are you paused? Don't talk, old man.
Welcome to Storyline Online, brought to
I
you
knew
by
he was
the
going
Screen
to
Actors
talk when I
Guild
told him not to.
Foundation. My name is Ernest Borgnine, and we're going to be reading a book today called
All right. So if there are issues with YouTube and Google Chrome, I've heard that there are some workarounds. I'm trying to confirm if Nearpod is a good workaround for having students access videos on their Chromebooks. And I know that the district is working really hard to get the YouTube issue resolved. I don't currently have any other information about that. And then
So can I ask a quick question? So if we add a YouTube video to this, the kids are still going to have the problem accessing it if we pre-record it or link it.
To be very transparent, I don't have access to a student Chromebook, and so I struggle with that issue. It's like the one issue I haven't been able to help out much with because we didn't get, in retrospect, I should have probably grabbed a student Chromebook just so that I could have helped with the tech side of things, but I didn't. So I'm relying on the information from other people around that.
Yeah. It seems like they were pretty quick, like 24 hours in approving things if you sent it to support, but you had to know that at the beginning. Otherwise, you had all these kids writing to you and saying, we can't open it.
Yep, it's been an issue.
I have a question about that. Is it because the videos are not approved, or is it because there's an issue with Chromebook talking to YouTube?
It's a relay issue. So what's happened, I'm being recorded, so I'm being cautious with my wording. I don't understand fully what's happened. So let me just disclaim by saying that. My understanding of how the relay system works is that when Chromebooks are being used on the district Wi-Fi, we are able to filter what content gets through. So when we approve a video, the filter says, well, this is okay, let it through. So it's like a gatekeeper, right? But when students took the Chromebooks home, they're no longer on the district Wi-Fi. And so the only way to keep the children safe on YouTube was by blocking YouTube completely. And so there's a relay issue there where they're struggling to get it up and running in a way that still keeps the children safe, but also allows them to access the safe YouTube videos.
Got it.
That's my understanding. And again, there's probably errors in what I said, but that's my current understanding.
Makes sense.
So here we would take Ernest Borgnine's version of the rainbow fish, and I would open up my student activity here, and it says, circle the scene you want to act out. Now click record and pretend to be rainbow fish and say what he would say. So this is a really great example where the student would circle, like let's say I want to circle, oh, the scary one over here. And then I'm going to record and I'm going to say, oh no, it looks really scary in there. Ah, what am I going to do? And maybe I'm even going to take a quick picture. Oh, it won't let me because I'm currently using it for Zoom, so it won't let me take a picture. But the student could even take a picture of their face going, ah, or something, right?
That's great.
So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. I can listen.
I'm going to say,
oh no, it looks really scary in there. Ah, what am I going to do? And if the student doesn't like what they said, then they can re-record it. They can self-edit, you guys. They can edit themselves. I just love it. I love the ease of use. If they forgot what they're supposed to do, the instructions are right here. They can play them again. All right, let's go ahead and submit that. And here it says waiting for teacher approval, and it's now taken me back into my journal. So I'm just going to click back over to activities. We're going to really quickly just pop over here into this story, this activity that we had here so that you can see what I can do. So I can move these around. I cannot move around the background. Do you see that? So Leah, I think that was you asking, it automatically puts it in the background for me. I can unlock it. So if I'm clever, I can learn how to unlock, and now I can move it around. Some teachers may feel like, I need them to be able to not move everything. I feel like if my student wants to move it so they have more workspace, great. If they move it and they do something inappropriate with it, I'll, have a private conversation with them, just like I would in the classroom. So here the student can build their number. Ooh. And then they can use the magic pencil and they can say 200 plus 10, and they can cover that up and they can cover that up, and they can use the highlighter and the highlighter, and they can use this pencil and this pencil. So there's lots of really great tools here. They can change the color. There's a million colors over on the right hand side of the screen, every color of the rainbow that they can choose from. They can change the size of their marker. So they could even just do like a blop, 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 blop. Lots of things they can do. Questions here before I head out of the screen?
Not really a question, but a comment. Having a tool that's easy to use is really going to help students, just kind of increase their computer literacy. Being able to manipulate the tools easily will be a great exercise for them.
Absolutely. So I'm going to pop over really quickly into Colton's actual first grade class. And I just want to share some of the activities that he's really been working on for real, not my little test activities. And I'm just going to show really quickly, you're going to notice that there's most of these are all activities that he did not do. So just in full disclosure, my son didn't do all of his activities, all of his lessons. Sorry. But I think it's really neat to see what his first grade teacher has been assigning. And I think it's really neat to see just the creativity. The writing prompts, the students were allowed to pick their writing prompt. Each day there was a different writing prompt, and they could either write it in their journal that they had at home, or they could do it on the screen. So I think that's a really neat way for students to self-differentiate. Sorry, I didn't want to show actual students there. Sorry, this is not what I meant to go into. My apologies. There was one thing that I was going to show and I don't know where it went.
So these are all incomplete activities?
Correct. So you can see here he started, but he never finished and he never completed it. So here's my son.
Today I'm going to read a Pet for Pika.
I did tell him to put a shirt on.
That was common for all the kids.
He's going to the pet store. He's going to get a pet. He wants a bird, a hamster, or a lizard. But then he sees a goldfish. That's what I want. He tells his mom.
You get the idea. So just a really great way for students to still be able to do their reading. Yes, okay, that's fine. It would also be a really wonderful way to do some interviews with students without having to actually get each student one-on-one, on a one-on-one Zoom call. You could do some sort of, say, record yourself solving these math problems or just this one math problem, and have students, explain their thinking kind of like Number Talks style and be able to listen to their thinking. Definitely first, second grade and up. Definitely kinder and first are a little bit harder, but like maybe first grade, second grade and up, you can have them do their work on the screen and then use the record feature to share how you thought about this problem and how you attacked this problem. And so you still get that depth of listening to the student thinking. All right. Any other questions?
Can we see back on Colton's screen, does it show what his completed assignments look like? I had a parent who, granted I was using Google Classroom, and I think in her mind, she visually wanted like a checklist. She's like, how can I tell what I need to do and what we've completed? You know, she wanted to have like a place where she could see everything to be able to differentiate what was done and what needed to be.
So in his journal, over here, I just clicked on his name. And so it has all of his work here, waiting for teacher approval. This was his ooh sounds. So these are all waiting for teacher approval, but these are all of the activities that he completed. Does that?
They have both video that they can record or just their voices?
Yes.
Okay.
My understanding is that if they're doing a video, then it's just a video that they submit. So it's like, let's see real quick. If I go back to activities, add a response. So right here, he would go to video. Right, so the choices are, you could submit a link. So if you had a student doing a report or a project or something, you could have them link. If you have them, I don't know, I don't know when you would use a link, to be honest. A note would just be text. They would be writing up a document. Again, you can have them link from their Google Drive. The photo would just literally be the photo, and then drawing is what I was showing you before, where it has all the different features combined.
They can use multiple responses, correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, if they do a video, they can only submit a video.
Okay, but they could do a picture in a document or something like that.
Yes, exactly. So this is what the note looks like. It's literally just text. Delete and start over. The photo would just be a photo. It's not going to let me because my camera's in use. But again, the drawing is the one where they can record and take a picture and do text and all of that all in one. Make sense?
Yes, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Hey, Nova, I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this one, but do you know any teachers using this and Google Classroom? This seems like something that I would have replace Google Classroom.
Yeah, that's a great question. I hope that she's okay with it. I'm gonna have to reach out to my son's teacher before I send out this recording today. So we'll just show you really quickly what his teacher did. And there are many other teachers doing something similar. I'm sharing this because I know exactly where it is because I just pulled it up earlier this morning. So she used Google Classroom to share a slide deck. And within the slide deck, everything was organized by activity. So here you have an overview of the activities that they needed to do for each week. If I went to a specific slide, it tells me in my Google Classroom, go to math topic 16, and I could click on this and it's a hyperlink to the classroom activity in Envision. And then it tells me to go to Seesaw and do week 9 math. Add your response to tell me about math problems you worked on this week. So she went from Classroom to Google Slides to Seesaw. And her first graders were able to manage that pretty easily. My son always knew where to go.
Is that a link to Seesaw right there as well? Just like it is to the...
Yep.
Nice.
Cool. And she told the students that it was easiest to access the slide deck in present mode, but my son never did. He always just clicked the blue and then clicked the blue. Yeah.
Once they went to, when he would click on the Seesaw link, would he have to log in, or would he enter logged in since he had set up the account using Google to start with?
Yeah, I'll demo that again. So if I click on Seesaw, and then click on Seesaw, it just takes us right in. And I'm currently logged in. I will also note, I'm currently logged into Google Chrome as my son.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also, it's what I recommend to parents overwhelmingly is have your children logged into Chrome. And then that way, as you can see, I also set up so that my children had all of their bookmarks at the top of the screen here. So anytime they needed to access something, they had the bookmarks at the top of the screen here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
She did also organize her topics, her activities by week. And so the students knew if they needed to find the work for this week, it was always under this week. So they would always consistently went to the words this week. Does that make sense?
Within each of the topics or?
So she would, each week, she would update
okay.
the slide deck for that week.
So she had a topic in her Google Classroom that was called This Week.
Correct.
Okay.
But
So,
I've also seen, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing real quick. I've also seen teachers organize their Google Classroom by week. So you have like the week of, June 22nd or whatever it is, I don't know. The week of July, whatever it is, right? So I've seen teachers organize their topics in Google Classroom by week. I've also seen them group by subject, by content. I've seen them organized by must-dos and may-dos. So these are the things you must do. Everything else is optional, kind of like a menu. I've seen that organized a number of different ways. But we'll cover all that in the Google Classroom session, which is tomorrow. I got it right. Alrighty, you guys. If you have any other questions, I'll be here for another minute, but I do want to honor it is 3 o'clock on the dot. Such better timing than yesterday. Nailed it. If you have any other questions, I'll be here for a moment, but I do want to honor your time. And I want to thank you so much for joining these. I love that this is useful and helpful. And please, I want to be like the 9-year-old boys. Subscribe and share. Subscribe and share.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, Holly, what's up?
I missed the beginning. Is this similar to Class Dojo in any way?
So it does have overlap with Class Dojo. Dojo also has the added component of being like a behavior management system. I forget what they call it. They have like